What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're keto, I'm John. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a perfect keto steak. You can't go wrong with a porterhouse that I got, and I got Lindsay the KC strip. But first, if you haven't already hit that subscribe, click subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified when I put out future videos, because I know you're going to love the content of this channel, guys. I'm going to talk to you guys in just a minute. All right, you guys, I hope you are ready to learn how to make an amazing, delicious steak. I've been cooking for a very long time. I remember when I was about 8 years old, my father used to actually let me man the grill. Yeah, 8 years old, I was flipping chicken legs on the grill for when we'd have get-togethers. I just really loved cooking from a young age, and I actually did move into the cooking industry, the restaurant hospitality industry for many, many years. I was a professional cook and managed several kitchens and just learned a whole lot along the way. So I do have a culinary background. So the first tip I'm going to give you guys is you want to get your steaks out at room temperature before you cook them. This is going to allow you to get a really quick sear on them, and they'll cook a little quicker, but the centers won't be super cold, so it won't take them it won't cook as unevenly. The best way to really cook them probably nowadays is to get a sous vide. I have not got one yet. I have heard, I might be murdering the way you say that, by the way, sorry if I am. I have heard that that is the most efficient way to do it, and then you just sear it real quick on the outside. But first tip, get your steaks out at room temperature and make sure that they are dry. For the most part, you want to pat them dry or just air dry them however you would like. That's going to allow you to get a nice crisp exterior. So I'm going to let these dry up. I need a shower. We just worked all day long. I just got home from the grocery store. I got to do a little bit of cleaning and then get in the shower, and then I'll show you guys what to do next. Talk to you soon. Whew. All right, you guys, feel much better. Just got out the shower and I am ready to give you tip number 2. All right, so you want to make sure that you season your steaks about 30 minutes to an hour before you cook them. This is debatable depending on the kind of cut that you get. If it's a little tougher of a cut, you might want to season it a few hours prior, let it kind of tenderize the meat. But we got a porterhouse and a strip here, so I just seasoned it before I got in the shower, which was about 30 minutes ago or so, and I'm not going to start cooking them for about another 30 minutes. So they're going to sit, and all I did was season them with a little salt and pepper and some avocado oil. You're welcome to use whatever seasonings you'd like, but a good steak only needs salt and pepper. All right, you guys, I believe I'm on tip number 4. Maybe I miscounted before, but getting it to room temperature, getting it dry, and then getting it seasoned. So now tip number 4, get your pan nice and hot. No matter what pan you use, it is probably best to use a cast iron skillet. That's what I love to cook my steaks in. But whatever pan you use, make sure it is hot, because we're going to cook it the way meat is supposed to be eaten, at medium rare. From rare to medium rare is where I like it. It's where it should be eaten. Lindsay likes hers more on the medium side. That's why I get her the thinner cuts of meat. So I'm going to show you what it looks like in just a minute. Keto gains, baby. You guys ready to cook some steak? We are bulking. Steak can't go wrong. For me, steak just isn't the same without a little bit of red wine. Cheers. All right, you guys, I do apologize for the noise, but we do have to have the fan on. And actually, let me open the door because last time I set off the smoke detector. It was no bueno. We don't need that going on again. So I'm about to put this steak on the hot pan, because you have to have it hot. You see that smoke? That's what you want. We want it to sizzle. Now we're going to go ahead and add some oil into the pan. But you want to wait to add the oil, because if you put it in there and the pan's getting super hot, you're going to burn that oil. So we just want to put it in right before we put our steaks in. So boom, that's what you want to hear, guys. You definitely want to hear that crack, sizzle, and pop, because that's the caramelization that's going to happen to your steak. And that's the deliciousness and the brownness that it gets on it. So I will show you what this looks like when we flip it over, and I'm going to cook Lindsay's up as well. I got my veggies here ready to go in. I'm going to cook them in the same pan when I take the steaks out, so they get the flavor that the juices leave behind. It's going to be fantastic. We'll see you soon. All right, what tip are we on right now? Number 5 maybe? You have to go back and let me know. Comment down below, let me know what tip we're on right now, because I think we're on number 5. We'll see. Anyways, tip number 5 is you do not want to overcook your steak. Remember that your steak is going to continue to cook for a little bit after you take it out of the pan. So it's always better to cook it a little bit under than it is to keep on cooking it and go over. Nobody likes an overcooked steak because they cost money. I mean, I got a pretty good deal at Hen House, but normally you pay a pretty good penny for that steak. So don't overcook it, guys. Don't make that mistake. That's tip number 5. We'll be back with tip number 6 soon. Oh my God. Is that a beautiful steak or what? Okay, tip number 6. Do not, I repeat, do not move your steak. When you put that sucker in the pan, let it do its thing. You don't want to flip it until it's ready. Probably, depending on the temperature you want it to cook and have the thickness of your steak, I'm going to go for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side because I'm shooting for a rare to medium rare. It's going to just depend on the size of the steak. But once you put it in the pan, leave it alone until you flip it, because what's going to happen is if you move it around, it's not going to get as good of a sear. It's going to end up kind of steaming instead. So as you could see when I showed you, we got a beautiful brown sear on our steak. I'm going to just let it cook for another few minutes, take it off and let it rest. And that's going to bring me to tip number 7. These might just be out of order, and I do apologize, guys. I just wanted to kind of go off the top of my head. I don't ever stage anything or script anything. I just go straight off of my head. So tip number 7 is going to be, make sure you let your steak rest before you cut into it. If you cut into that steak before you let it rest for 4 to 8 minutes, you're going to let all the juices run out of it, and it's going to be dry and rubbery and gross. Just wait. I promise it will be worth the wait. It will be rewarding. So let your steak rest for 4 to 8 minutes, depending on the thickness. Make sure you season twice. You're going to season your steak before cooking them. You're going to taste them. And I know this might kind of seem gross, guys, but this is just the way it is. In the restaurant industry, they touch it, they feel it and make sure what temperature it's at, and they taste it. And to be honest with you, that's okay. They're going to kill off the germs in the pan, but you want to know if it needs more flavor. So you taste it, and if it needs more salt, more pepper, more whatever, you add it in. That way you're not at the end feeling like, oh man, this just needs something. What's it missing? So make sure you season your steak twice. Taste it. I think that was tip number 8. I don't know. All right. You want to make sure that you sear all of the sides of the steak. Worst thing is to get a steak with like a piece of rawness on the sides. Plus, you got all that oil and fat from the steak in the pan, so you really want to use that to really crisp up that fat, give it that crispiness. I know if you're keto, you probably like fat. So I love the fat of the steak. That's my favorite part. Lindsay hates it, and I love that because I get to eat hers. Tip number 9, sear the sides of your steaks. All right, you guys, I think it's the last tip. You have to finish your steaks in butter. So we're going to put some herbs, garlic, and butter into the pan, let it melt, and we're going to pour it on top of the steaks. This makes for a perfect steak. Yeah, this is thyme. You can use whatever herbs that you like. I find that thyme and butter just really complement a steak very nicely. So you just want to get it all nice and lathered in that butter. And then what we're going to do, guys, we're going to use the rest of that to cook our vegetables. All right, I thought I was done with all the tips. Maybe not. When you go to slice your steak, after you let it rest, we talked about that, you're going to want to cut it on the bias. That just means you're going to cut it at an angle. And what that does is allows you to cut, it'll be more tender. I could get like a little more descriptive for you, but it's basically just got something to do with the way the grains fall, and just cutting it on the bias is going to make it be more tender. So cut it on the bias. All right, you guys, that's gonna conclude this video. I hope you did enjoy it. This is going to be the best steak you have ever had. If it's not, let me know. But if it is and you try it out, let me know as well. Leave me some comments down below, guys. That icon's probably going off, so go ahead and click on the icon so you get subscribed to this channel, because you will not forget it. Remember, life's too short, so have a fantastic night.